All right, well, it's good to see you guys. Welcome. Really excited to get this 2022 season underway, the journey to the season. You know, as we've been talking to the players about, the season starts now. The season has started when we started this semester a few weeks ago. And so we look forward to catching up with you guys about where the team is at. Obviously, the recruiting cycle that we just finished, but as we know with the ever-changing rules within college football, it's really not done. We'll start with, simply the opportunity to grow from our experiences in 2021. As within any year, we're always going to identify what are the areas, not only within the team, but within the building and the department, where can we grow? Where can we add value? Where can we make gains in all the areas of the building? That's always an exciting process. It's a fun process. It's a process that takes diligence. Although we did not wait to the end of the year last year to start that process, we'll go into more detail about what that looked like and how we made some of those things happen in the middle of the year, especially within the bye week. But through multiple levels throughout our program, we want to accomplish this growth so that we can accomplish our goal, which is you guys know that you guys have been in this team room here for a long time since this building was built. It's written right above me, up top there. So ultimately our goal is to win a Mountain West Conference championship and a bowl game, and to handle that with class and integrity and as well as academic excellence. As we grew as a team in the back half of the season, we were able to identify areas during that bye week that allowed us to grow. We had the opportunity to evaluate things that we were doing well and things that we weren't. We were able to make a jump on the back half of the season in areas that, as we all talked about, we weren't performing at the level that we wanted to perform at in the beginning of the season. And by doing so in areas like improving the run game by identifying the schemes that our players do well, the schemes that fit our players, by being able to develop depth. As funny as it sounds, we had more depth in the middle of the year than we did when we started the year for various reasons. But to the coaches and the players' credit, we were able to improve areas like the run game. And as you guys see right above here, up on the boards behind, below the line there in the middle of the year, you can see that we were, before the bye week, we were not meeting our goals in terms of running the ball and stopping the rush or stopping the run. And on offense, we were only running the ball for 87 yards a game and only averaging 2.5 yards per carry. And we only had 11 explosive plays. Defensively, we were giving up way too many rush yards. The explosive plays prior to the bye week. Within football, it's ever evolving. You got to be constantly looking for places for change. During the bye week, we were able to sit down as a staff, create a plan to move forward, and make the gains we need down the stretch of the season. By, again, identifying things that our team does well, specific to our personnel, and being able to develop the youth of our team and provide more depth, not only so to execute certain schemes, but more importantly, what creates the execution is a certain level of confidence, physicality, and mentality, and we were able to practice that way. After the bye week, we were able to rush the ball in those final games for 170 yards a game at 4 yards a carry, and we had 20 explosive runs within that time. Defensively, we held the opponents we played to 103 yards per game rushing, which would put the defensive rush in the top 10 in the nation. We understand what we're capable of now when we work a certain way, when we build and develop a certain level of depth so that we can train, practice, and operate week to week, day to day with a certain, mentality that's going to create a confidence for us to execute. We will continue to build in these areas as we draw from the lessons of our past to apply to the future success. The things we don't control moving forward, we're moving on. We're letting go of them. We're not going to sit. We're not going to stew. We're not going to talk about them. We're going to apply what we learned to our future success. To review the end of the season, the 8 bowl practices we were able to get in allowed us to continue to develop our young talent as we did throughout the middle to the end of the year. So we were able to get 8 bowl practices, which varied in terms of the type of practices they were. The guys had a few weeks off there to finish up finals and to get some rest time at the end of the year is typical with the late bowl game. We had bowl practices there in the first weekend when we reconvened about 2.5 weeks after our last game, where they were similar to bye-week practices. We were able to get in 2 more practices that were very similar to fall camp practices, and then we were able to start into our bonus week for the bowl prep. Within those 8 practices, we continue to develop the youth of our team, the underclassmen, the middleclassmen. We were able to close that gap and build more depth. The competitiveness at these practices was by far the best. It was night and day from fall camp. And not only, between one-on-one competitions and group settings, one-on-one between wide receiver DB, one-on-one between O-lineman and D-lineman, but between team competitions and situational competitions. As we all know, we value the work that the team put in during those practices and being able to grow off the things that we then again self-scouted at the end of the year to make another jump off the improvements we did in the beginning of the year. Not only from the run game standpoint, but also from our plan of attack in the red zone. Our red zone efficiency, when you look at stats, is really high. It's in the top of the nation. But being able to convert more of those scores into touchdowns. So that was a huge emphasis going into the bowl prep and the amount of time we spent to identify the things that we do well, that we can execute, that we can score touchdowns when we're down in that area, and worked on that throughout the bowl practices. Not only that, but the in-game scenarios, the end-of-half scenarios, the end-of-game scenarios, and created competitions that the players and the coaches, we all were able to learn from and grow from and compete with. It is obviously extremely unfortunate that we're not able to display it in the bowl game due to COVID protocols that we've all seen and experienced here in the last month. Not only for the families of the players, for the seniors that were involved, for the seniors that led, for the leadership group that led from the time we accepted the bowl bid and knew we had a month to prepare, the leadership and how the team took over and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. We showed them the map. We showed them the practices. We showed them the days. Showed them how we're going to finish school. And they led it. They did it. And they competed. And we grew. Again, it's unfortunate that the families of the players in Bronco Nation could not see that growth. In college football, change is constant. The playing field of today's game is much different than it was 2 years ago. I mean, on a lot of different levels. There's rule changes within the game itself. There's obviously different layers outside of the game, from the transfer portal, name, image, and likeness. There's a lot of different moving parts of college football today. As the game continues to adapt, we'll continue to adapt. Jeremiah has done a tremendous job in creating new opportunities and resources for our program. In terms of the student athletes and the staff, where we sit today is totally different than where we sat at this time last year when we got here. Not only what he's created, but we are excited about the plans to keep expanding and the resources that Jeremiah is working on providing for us to continue to help build this program. Again, where we stand today with those resources and the commitment of the boosters as well. We appreciate the support that we've gotten from the donors and the people that help support this program, that are allowing us to build this program and get to where we need to be. For the changes to our team, the staff and the players who enter the transfer portal to seek more playing time, we are very thankful and appreciative for their contributions to our team last year. The change is necessary for a variety of reasons. Some being for the greater good of the program, some being for personal choices, personal reasons. However it's spun, change provides an opportunity for growth and improvement. And as we said, in all areas of this building, all departments of this building, it is vitally important for us to evaluate, find ways to grow, and to keep pushing the needle forward. We are fortunate to have found men who have specific expertise in areas that we have an opportunity to grow, where we have identified areas where we can grow. And as we move along here, we're able to continue to build our staff in year number 2 with guys that have certain expertise in certain areas. For myself, I've always taken great pride in learning and growing. It has always been a priority to self-evaluate, to analyze my role and the effectiveness. I'm excited about the things I've learned over the course of 2021 in my first year as a head coach on multiple levels, not just coaching. From program leadership and organization to handling the world of COVID protocols, developing a competitive environment, recruiting, and creating a mentality built through accountability, preparation, and most importantly, teamwork. As a leader, it is my responsibility to continue to find ways that I can better serve the program, better serve the people that are involved in the program, better serve the people that support the program, from our administration to our boosters, our donors. That being said, we are excited about where we stand today. We're extremely excited about where we stand today. We've been able to build depth through recruiting, player development, the 10 super seniors who will return to help lead this team in 2022. In review of our 22 class, we signed 22 players in the early signing period, with an addition of a quarterback, Sam Vidlak, after the early signing period. We put this diagram above. It's a lot easier for you guys to see. It's a breakdown of what the roster looks like now. Just wanted to be able to provide you guys this with a clean look of what that looks like. In combination with the 8 walk-ons we've been able to add to this class, we have a total of 31 players added to the team, with 12 early enrollees. Most importantly, we've been able to address the areas that we were lacking last year in terms of our depth. We've been able to improve the depth in the fronts, which will also improve our ability to train, to compete, and to play a certain way that is built through a certain mentality and toughness. As you guys can see up here on the chart, again, we just wanted to lay out for you guys what that looks like. So at the very top there, those, the June guys, those are the guys that are still in high school that will enroll at the end of June. The mid-years are below them, the 12 that have enrolled there, and then the walk-ons that we'll get to celebrate here shortly, and then where the roster really shapes up. So you look at the depth that we've added. This list of individuals was not on the team, would not have been on the team prior to the end of last season. Obviously, the super seniors were blessed for them to use their plus 1 year right there at the end. So as we move forward, the depth of our team, again, looks much different because of how we've been able to recruit, develop, and quite frankly, we have an unbelievable set of super seniors who have some unfinished business here and have been doing an unbelievable job leading the efforts as we start 2022. We have put a premium on our purpose, our accountability to compete every day, how we work together as a team, and the consistency that comes from that speaks to the commitment of our players and our staff, and especially the super seniors, the plus ones that want to come back and be a part of this, not only to be a part of this team, but for their individual growth and what is going on. As we move forward with today's gathering, we have the privilege of announcing the 7 players who will be joining our team. As you guys can see, that's the list there that is up above there. The best part about this is the majority of these players come from the state, right here, locally grown, raised, right from the state of Idaho. They grew up coming to Boise State games. They're a type of men that have helped build the heart and soul of this program. As we bring in a new class of Broncos, we want to thank the seniors from 2021 for their hard work, their dedication, their perseverance through a tough year, and their relentlessness to reestablish the foundation that we are today building upon. They helped us get to a point where we're at today that is far beyond where we were at from a mental, physical, a program standpoint at this point last year. The foundation we stand on today is because they were persistent through the course of last year. It was awesome to see that our two captains got to play in senior bowl games. You know, Kala played in the NFLPA game, and Shaq, you know, obviously good luck to you, bud, in playing in the Reese's Senior Bowl this week coming up. We wish all our seniors the best and their future success. We'll always be here for you. We can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys. That being said, we want to open up questions today regarding recruiting, the class that we're able to assemble, the players returning, the players joining the program, and how we'll proceed going forward in preparation for spring ball.
Coach, just to confirm, you have Prince Strawn on the list there of guys that will join in June. The plan was originally for him to gray shirt. Has that changed?
He still will gray shirt. There was always an option depending on the numbers. Okay. That's the way the numbers work with the amount of we haven't had a ton of movement on our roster, but this day and age, you always got to plan for it and have a plan in certain areas. And that's why I say this is where we're at for the 2022 class right now. But as you guys know, the day and age we live in, it's ever evolving.
So be clear, he'll be on campus in June, not next January?
He'll be in campus next January. Yeah, we're slightly over.
Okay. And you just have transfers and stuff that can keep happening, I guess, to change that before now on August 1st? Or how's that work?
Yeah, I think if you look at the patterns and the trend, I don't think there's a team, BJ, in college football that is not over right now with the way the transfer portal and everything else works. And that's set up in a way where we have, the ability to have 25 initials this year, different from last year. There's a +7. For that reason that we're talking about, for the projected movement that occurred last year. Again, it's ever evolving. You got to be able to adapt and adjust. This doesn't look the way it looked 2 years ago.
How do you weigh that with the 11 super seniors versus 11 more guys that you could have come in as freshmen and developed them? And how do you look at how hard is the roster management now with all this COVID stuff and just trying to figure out what's best in terms of a super senior versus a high school player?
Yeah, it's the overall picture of the roster. And again, it always comes down to the depth and the need. Where are we? And to answer your question, that's why we laid it out so you can see it clear with your eyes. Look how many high school kids are coming in. Look how many mid-year guys are coming in. Look how many walk-ons are coming in. Look how many seniors are staying for a +1. What do you see in that, BJ?
Coach, 6 of the 7 guys you announced today played their high school ball in the state of Idaho.
Yes.
Why is it so important to keep those guys home? And while I'm sure you're excited about all of them, is there one name that you're really excited about that this guy's going to break through?
Well, I'll say this, start out in fairness to a lot of these young men. Number one, we value our state. We hit our state hard in recruiting in this period right now, in this past recruiting period. We covered the state in almost every single area. Some of the outliers that maybe weather didn't allow us to get to, we will hit in the spring. But within the first couple days of spring recruiting, when we are out on the road, we had hit every school in this state. We hit the majority already. It is important to us, not only from the student athletes that are in this state, but our relationships with the coaches. We haven't got to get out and go recruiting in 2 years in January. For us to be able to go out and see some of the new coaches, for us to get on the other side of the state, on the east side of the state, and see some of those coaches over there and sit down and have an interaction. And not necessarily always talk recruiting. You know what? Talk shop. Talk about football. Talk about philosophy. Talk about how they're growing their programs. It was just awesome to do in general, and to be able to facilitate those relationships. The cool thing to see from going around and recruiting in this state is the mentality that's built in through the youth. And that's why we must continue, and we always will, because it builds the identity into who we are from this state. The young men in this state, They're taught a certain way. They're taught how to work a certain way. They're taught accountability and what teamwork is. And that's what our program has been built on. So we'll continue to recruit a lot of these young men. To be honest with you, Ron, I mean, they had scholarship offers to play, you know, at other schools at different levels. And they chose to come here to be a part of this. And we're very grateful for that. What we've done in that, too, is bringing guys into the program that we feel that can excel through development over the course of years. We've done that in the past. Guys like, you know, whether it's Leighton, who walked on here and, you know, after 2 years, I think it was pretty evident after a couple years of development, he looked completely different than what he did when he walked in here, and he was sagging in his uniform and his jersey didn't fit him, and he was wearing number 95 compared to what he looked like when he left. Or Dice. Dice comes in here as a D lineman. We need an offensive lineman. He switches over, plays center. Now the guy's been playing in the league, you know, for a decade. Not to say that every one of these individuals is going to work out that way, but to say that these individuals will have a tremendous impact on this program. They all may not become NFL stars, but they will become important leaders of this state, of this community, in different arenas, whether it could be in politics, they could become future law enforcement, firemen, anywhere within that. And that's what we're about building here. And we look forward to being able to build more depth, more specifically into our team. You can see that we hit the wide receiver position in there. The running back position, which Taylor's got some position flexibility. You guys have all seen him from covering around here. What do you see in our offense? It's a natural fit. In the slot, line up at the outside wide receiver, move into the backfield. He can do all those different things. We're excited about that. You know, shoot, Hunter can stretch it and go. He's got change of direction, lateral quickness, and he's got a burst. You know, we also have the advantage of being able to see these guys in high school football camp, see what they're doing in pads, be around them, watch them, not just watch what they're doing on film, but watch and see how they're being coached, how they lead their teammates. Make no mistake that we pay attention to all those things, because that's what we're going to look, you know, from this group to do once they get here. Just like some of our local walk-ons that joined our team this fall, who did a tremendous job and who are helping grow the mentality of the team. The big deal is always continuing to build the depth in the fronts. You know, you only have so many scholarship players, and we will continue to look for walk-ons in both the O-line and the D-line, because as you all know, we cannot build enough depth there.
With Ethan Makita,
Mm-hmm.
the story could have been tragic just because, I mean, first carry of the season, he got to the 60, second carry of the season, he tears his ACL. Came into his senior season looking noticeably different.
Yes.
How were you guys able still able to recruit him despite the fact, you know, he could have played probably the most important season of his life?
Yeah, just the evaluations in the summer. His team coming to summer camp. His team was extremely competitive in summer camp. And guess who was leading that charge? The team took that certain type of mentality. The way he runs that ball, he runs it with a certain mentality and physicality, has the ability to make people miss and has the ability to go through people too. And we're just grateful for the opportunity to have that interaction and being around him and see who he is as a person. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it's unfortunate that he didn't get to, well, show it through consistency over the course of his senior year. But like you said, he came out and had a pretty special play right out of the gates.
You had a number of super seniors last year, 7 or 8, I guess, and a lot of them really played big roles. You bring 11 guys back this year. What are you expecting from them?
Well, number one is to hold accountability for what, as a team, we've decided is important from our experiences last year, which is to operate with a certain purpose, accountability, so we can compete in a certain way. Number one is to lead themselves so that they can lead the team. Will is a guy that came in late last year with the transfer rules, you know, open all the way until July 1st. As you guys know, that's not the case this year. So Will came in really late. What we're looking for from Will is now a whole year of being in the program and having the preparation from January to game number 1. OJ embodies what this place is all about. OJ has been tremendous in helping reestablish what this place is all about and the foundation that this team stands on today and the way they work. And I don't think there's a person in this building that it would look to another place to look to see what teamwork, what competition, what purpose looks like. I mean, I know I don't talk about injuries, but OJ had to get his shoulder cleaned up, and OJ's out there after a month and a half pushing sleds with one arm. That's the type of person he is. That's what we're looking for OJ to raise the level of competitiveness, not only in his position, not only on his side of the ball, but the whole team. We're grateful for who he is and for him wanting to come back and be a part of this. And obviously for him individually, he will grow at his position, and he will be one of the elite O-linemen on the West Coast. Davis came on the scene because of how he works. He earned the respect and the trust of the team because how he worked. And it wasn't just about how many balls can I catch. He played on all 4 special teams. Right out of the gates, wanted to be on all 4. He earned a role as a wide receiver, and that grew as we went on. Kurt, again, a guy that transferred in late last year, didn't have a whole year to prepare. Looking forward to seeing him progress and having a whole year to prepare from January to the first game. You know, and as you can see within some of these guys as we go through the defense, you can see similarities there with Caleb. You guys didn't get to see a whole lot from Jay Reed, but Jay Reed is extremely dependable in who he is as a person and is shown to have the abilities. He did have an injury last year that held him out and needed surgery to recover. And he is well back on track to being able to compete this spring. Really excited. Shane is one of our captains. Shane is tremendous. He obviously brings a certain mentality and leadership to our defense. And as we move forward closer to spring ball, we look forward to talking more about specifically how these guys are training and impacting this type of springs we're looking forward to seeing from them. But, you know, the depth we're going to have in the secondary now, the 2 safeties. You know, Ty Jones, super senior. I think we're all very aware of JL and the opportunities and the decisions he, you know, had to make at the end of the year. And we're very grateful for him, number one, wanting to come back and elevate himself and grow himself as an individual through the program and what we're doing, but to the fact of the matter that he didn't want to miss out on this 2022 year. Zeke, I feel like Zeke has been around here forever, baby, because we're talking about the average age of the team. It went down a little bit now that Riley's gone. But, you know, it feels like Zeke has been around here for a while, and we're very fortunate for that, as well as Roman. Roman had an injury last year that I'm really looking forward to seeing Roman bounce back from and contribute this year and helping lead this team. And then a guy like Divine. So, you know, Divine transferred here a couple years back. Sometimes it takes, more times than not, it takes transfers a couple years, if not 1 year. The second year, Uzo, for example, you know, in his second year last year, he really made a huge jump and was able to help us in a pivotal time of need.
Hey, do you have any, you guys are a little over your 85 right now, do you have room to hit the portal again if you need to or want to or something comes up?
Yeah, I think, you know, on a need basis, yeah. I'm just going to be honest with you, like, that's the day and age we live in right now. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, being over right now, everybody's over right now. It's the world we live in. Until the NCAA puts parameters on when these windows of free agency can take place, like in the professional leagues. Now, there is a window that is a lot earlier this year. Do you all understand those rules? So there is a window that is a lot earlier that is, in May. So it's a lot closer to being after spring ball. It's not, last year it was in the summertime, right? That's not the case. So there is, we've got to prepare ourselves to make sure that, number one, we are always going to have the depth in all positions on this team so that we can train and prepare and build a certain mentality. And that not only is from those things, but it's a physical game, injuries, the COVID protocols, and protecting ourselves too, and doing a better job being aligned of what it takes to compete, that every team in this that is involved in the NCAA, all 130 or so, everyone's playing the same playing field to battle the COVID protocols and the things that are set in place by the NCAA.
All right, guys. So you talking about the May is like when they have to decide for the league eligibility, or?
Yep. It's moved up. It is moved up.
Coach, what can you tell us about your new quarterback, Sam Vidlac?
Yeah, so Sam, extremely impressive, very diligent. Comes from a family of sports. Dad is a coach, baseball player, has excelled in multiple sports. Extremely, extremely bright, very well squared away. When you look at the quarterback position, as we've spoken about before, it starts with being able to lead yourself so you can lead others, having a great understanding of how to prepare so that you can grow. And we see all those things in Sam. We're very fortunate to have him here.